The time is 5 o'clock. Good evening and welcome to the March 2024 meeting of the Omaha Public Power District Board of Directors. Thank you all for joining us in person at the Omaha Douglas Civic Center and remotely via WebEx. I hope you and your loved ones are staying safe and healthy. With me in person today are my fellow board members, Amanda Bogner, Mike Kavanaugh, Matt Core, Sarah Howard, Janice Molhoff, Craig Moody, and Mary Spurgeon. We also have President and CEO Javier Fernandez, Troy Meyerson with the Fraser Stryker Law Firm, our general counsel, and members of our board meeting support staff. OPPD's executive leadership team and subject matter experts are also participating in today's meeting in person via WebEx. Additionally, we currently have one member of the public in person at the Civic Center and 5 members of the public and OPPD employees joining us virtually. Thank you all for joining us this evening. I will now ask a member of OPPD's physical security team to provide the safety briefing for our location and for Javier Fernandez to provide other safety reminders.
Briefing. On either side of the room, we have some emergency exits that we would use in the event of an evacuation. I would just ask everyone to congregate at the front of the building so we can have accountability in that type of situation. If there was severe weather, we'd use the exit on my right to go down into the parking area where we would take shelter. We also have fire suppression, AED first aid equipment at either side at those exits, and also additional equipment in the back of the room in case anybody were to need it. If anybody does need assistance, please let someone from OPPD or our security staff or the deputy sheriffs here in the room know, and we'll try to provide that help as quickly as possible. Also, please be aware of any trips or falls. Always be aware of those types of things. Those will get you hurt pretty quick and into the hospital pretty quickly as well. And unfortunately, it does look like we have some more winter weather potentially coming next week, so please keep an eye on that. And we also have severe weather potentially coming up in the next couple of months. So always something to keep an eye out for, and hopefully you'll have a good meeting tonight, and I'll turn it back over to our CEO.
Hey, Josh, and we all welcome the additional humidity, moisture. I think it's important to be careful of icing and snow conditions this coming weekend. On the psychological safety perspective, I talked about multiple perspectives and the importance of acknowledging that we have our own perspective. As my wife always reminds me, what's obvious to you, it's only obvious to you. And so keeping your mind and ears and eyes open to consider other perspectives as you're considering, in our case at OPPD, complex topics is important for not only to arrive to a good decision, but to create a good psychologically safe environment. Next, please. Safety focus for March, fatigue due to sleep debt. We talked about daylight savings changing. That is obviously one of the main reasons why we're focusing on fatigue and sleep. However, this is also a good opportunity for us to remind all of us that getting a good sleep, good rest is important, and chronic lack of sleep and rest could result in hazardous and dangerous conditions for our employees and for our customer owners. As spring outage work begins, and we just started outage on one of our units on North Omaha Unit 5, is a good opportunity for us to remind our employees about the processes we have in place for locking out, tagging out, and hold orders on all of our equipment. This is very, very important as a lot of this equipment is all interconnected. And when you're working on a piece of equipment that's connected to something else, making sure that you're not energizing a part of the system where someone else is working on. That's a layman's explanation of what the lockouts, tagouts, and hold orders are. This is something we take very seriously at OPPD, and it's important that we continue to train and remind our employees about how important it is to follow those processes. And lastly, March is Brain Injury Awareness Month. And again, just the 3 leading causes of brain injury includes falls, being struck by or against something, and motor vehicle accidents. I talked about how important it is, concussions. We usually hear about those in terms of sports, but they happen a lot more often than you would think. And the treatment and the recovery of those could be lengthy, and just a good reminder of how important it is to take care of that. With that, concludes my safety briefing.
Thanks very much. Now let's run through our guidelines for the conduct of the meeting. This regular board meeting will follow the agenda made available to the public on OPPD.com. This meeting is being conducted in person with WebEx conferencing and is being recorded. Our board meetings have public comment periods on the agenda. Comments made by all parties during the meeting are part of the official public record. After the introduction of action items, board members will ask clarifying questions of staff, and then I will ask for public comment. After public comment, the board will conduct its discussion of the matter and then vote. Also, before we adjourn, there will be an opportunity to comment on other matters of district business. We will take comments in the room first and then via WebEx. For in-person attendees, if you wish to make a comment, please line up behind the microphone in the center of the room. Please state your name, address, and the name of any organization or person you represent. Each individual will be allotted 3 minutes per matter pending. To assist you, we will use the timer that is located in the middle of the room. Ms. Lane will signal when you have 30 seconds remaining, as well as when time is up. If you have written materials, please deliver them to Ms. Lane. For WebEx attendees, if you wish to make a comment, please send the meeting host a message using the chat feature or utilize the hand raise feature. Detailed instructions can be found on the OPPD website at the link shown on the screen. When I call on a member of the public to speak, please affirm that we can hear you before commencing your comments. Please state your name, address, and the name of any organization or person you represent. Each individual will be allotted 3 minutes per matter pending. To assist you, we will use the timer on screen and signal when you have 30 seconds remaining, as well as when time is up. If you have written materials, please email them to corporatesecretary@oppd.com, and they will be received on our behalf. For all attendees, please direct your comments to me. I will either respond to you directly or defer response to another board member or officer of the district. The board values and welcomes civil, respectful, clear, and concise communication from the public. During public comments, speakers should refrain from repetitious, profane, or irrelevant comments. Speakers shall refrain from polling the board as such vote is not on the agenda and is prohibited by law. Ms. Lane, will you please take the roll call?
Director Bogner,
Here.
Director Kavanaugh,
Here.
Director Core,
Here.
Director Howard,
Here.
Director Mulhoff,
Here.
Director Moody,
Here.
Director Spurgeon,
Here.
Director Williams.
Here.
Notice of the time and place of this meeting was publicized by notifying the area news media, by publicizing same in the Omaha World Herald, OPPD outlets newsletter, oppd.com, and social media, by displaying such notice on the arcade level of Energy Plaza, and by emailing such notice to each of the district's directors on March 21st, 2024. I'm sorry, March 15th, 2024. A copy of the proposed agenda for this meeting has been maintained on a current basis and is readily available for public inspection in the office of the district's corporate secretary. Additionally, a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available for inspection on oppd.com and in this meeting room. The consent agenda items are as follows. Approval of the February 2024 meeting minutes and the March 21st, 2024 agenda. Item 7, restatement of the OPPD 401k and 457 retirement savings plan, resolution number 6633. Item 8, SD1, strategic foundation monitoring report, resolution number 6634. Item 9, SD12, information management and security policy revisions, resolution number 6635. Item 10, approval of increase in credit facilities, resolution number 6636. Item 11, approval of operating plant service agreement, OPSA, engineers certification, resolution number 6637. And item 12, award RFP number 6126, 15 kV metal clad switchgear cubicles and switchgear enclosure, resolution number 6638.
If there are no comments, changes, or corrections, or additions to the consent agenda items, I need a motion and a second to approve these items.
So move. Second.
We discussed these action items at the all committee meeting on Tuesday, March 19th. Do any members of the public in the room have any comments to consent agenda items? Seeing none, do any members of the public on WebEx have a comment? Great. Ms. Lane, will you please call the roll?
Director Bogner,
Yes.
Director Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Director Core,
Yes.
Director Howard,
Yes.
Director Mulhoff,
Yes.
Director Moody,
Yes.
Director Spurgeon,
Yes.
Director Williams.
Yes. There are no discussion action items on the agenda this evening, so the next item is the President's report. CEO and President Javier Fernandez.
Thank you, Chair Williams. On my president's report, I'm going to start, as I always do, with our February 2024 statistics for our baseload generation, that part of our fleet that is on your screen. As you can see, Nebraska City Units 1, 2, and 4 all had around 50% capacity factors. North Omaha Unit number 5 had a capacity factor of 37.4%. All units were available and ready to run. As you can imagine, February was both a warmer than usual month, and it was very windy. So the reason why you see those lower capacity factors is because we had a great portion of the energy on the grid was provided by other renewable generation, and that allowed us to ramp back our capacity factors on our base load coal generation. But it was very important for us to have them available just for capacity reasons. As I mentioned earlier in the meeting, we are beginning a planned outage season. North Omaha Unit 5 right now is offline, and I will report on that next month. But just a reminder that it's usually in the spring and the fall when we take some of these units off to do some outage work to have them ready for both the summer and the winter seasons. Next slide, please. On our balancing generation, it did see a little bit of activity, although not as much as in other years. We had some activity in Cass County and Jones Street, very small, 0.1 and 0.3% of capacity factors. Sarpy County Station did see more activity. Sarpy County Unit 1, 3, and 4, I believe, actually on 5 as well, had some activity, all in all accounting for about 3.3% of capacity factor, which is still relatively low, but very important. As I always say, these units don't run very often, but when they do, they run in some of the most important times to provide support for the grid. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, the wind was very strong in February. And capacity factor for renewables, which most of our portfolio is at the time, currently it's wind. The total was 46.3%. Community solar was 19%. We're starting to see that capacity factor for our community solar facility go up as the days get longer. Certainly in March with daylight savings, we'll see a little bit more as the hours of the day get a little longer. Capacity factor just for the wind part of the portfolio was 43%, which is a very healthy number, and it coincides with what we were seeing on a very windy season. Next slide, please. The one event that I have to report here is one that most of you attended. Looking at the board, thank you for your support, and thank all of OPPD employees for supporting. This is an event that we co-host alongside with the Metropolitan Utilities District. We held this event on March 2nd, Hit the Streets. It was a record year. Preliminary results show that this year's event broke 2 records. Number of registrants, which was 1,055 people registered to either run, walk, or virtually participate on the race. And in terms of funds raised, preliminary numbers show that we raised $175,828, which is fantastic. Of that amount, over $81,000 will go to OPPD's Energy Assistance Program. I want to take an opportunity to thank Director Corr and your wife, Katie, for co-chairing the event. And if you want, there are a lot more pictures. So if you want to see all the pictures, OPPDthewire.com has a full recap and more pictures for that. And last but certainly not least, our in memoriam today is, again, we always remember those we lost in the line of duty. Ken Kitchen died on December 27, 2000. He's one of the most recent fatalities we've had. There are many people still working at OPPD today who knew Ken and worked alongside Ken. He died after he was struck by a vehicle alongside West Dodge Road while trying to clear debris from under another car. Being a good Samaritan and working and helping others, and unfortunately he was a casualty and died. Ken was 53 years old at the time of his death. He had been with OPPD for 26 years. He was survived by his wife Cindy, his son Josh, daughter Jennifer, and his parents, a brother and 2 sisters. And that, Chair Williams, concludes my President's report.
Thanks very much. With that, public comment. We'll start with comment in the room.
David Begley, 4611 South 96th Street. Open your eyes before it is too late. No surprise to me, but the CEO of MISO, Mr. John Bear, has opened his eyes, and he states here the transition that is underway to get to a decarbonized end state is posing material adverse challenges to electric reliability. And in the legal and accounting worlds, material and adverse, those are important words. I didn't get to finish my NRD story, so I'll tell you again. So when I was on the NRD board, we had this what, that Sarpy County project, and it was controversial, and some directors were for and against it, and I voted for it because it was within our statutory authority for wind or for uh, flood control and recreation. And so what happened was there was a new board that came on in December or January after we voted for this project, and some board members had a personal grudge against the general manager. So they cooked it up so they're going to re-vote again. And so I thought, well, this is crazy. I'm not going to change my vote. And it went through, and I was the deciding vote. It was 5-4 or whatever it was. And 30 years later, I thought, boy, that was a great vote of mine, and I'm proud of that vote. So I'm putting it to you directors 30 years from now, if you're heading down this net zero path of unreliable energy, blackouts, triple rates, you need to think about that. And I'm going to appeal especially to the female members of this board because women traditionally have valued human life a lot more than men, and they haven't gotten us involved in a lot of stupid wars. So 30 years from now, if you got blackouts, you're at home thinking, oh, I should have listened to Begley. Don't get in that position. So I went out to York County, and the opposition had these little pins. They're very organized. My opinion, you're not
30 seconds.
you're not going to get approved, but don't blame Javier and Brad. They did a good job. But what you do have a big coming demand. So what you need to do is build a big 3,000 megawatt baseload natural gas pipeline or power plant, baseload in Sarpy or Burt or Washington counties. And I'll again remind the board, you have no statutory mandate for environmentally sensitive power. It's just low cost and reliable. Thank you very much.
Are there any other comments in the room? Please, thanks.
Hello, my name is Joanne Lamont Hayes. Nice to see you all. I'm here in response to the Directive 7. Do I have to give my address? Okay, 4263 Seward Street, Omaha, Nebraska, 68111. In response to the Directive 7, environmental stewardship. Omaha means the people who move against the current. It literally in our name to respond to energy, to water with sense. And I recently moved back from Chicago. And while I was in Chicago, I learned about an incredible project that's actually opening in April called the Green Era Campus. And the Green Era Campus is an anaerobic digester. An anaerobic digester, if you're not familiar, is a machine that utilizes heat without oxygen, and then it was able to extract biogas from food scraps. And this energy is being harvested from this anaerobic digester to power the facility and the adjacent homes, while the byproduct of compost is then being distributed across the south and west sides to nourish gardens and remediate soil that had been polluted from lead and various other toxins over generations. This campus is designed specifically to provide jobs for the Auburn Gresham community that has been disinvested in for generations. And it responds to a need for renewable, sustainable energy in and around the community. When I saw this, I thought, Omaha, we need to do that right here. OPPD has made a commitment to respond to the coal power plant in North Omaha. We know that we have higher asthma rates. We know we have a weakening infrastructure. We know we need to respond to this cooperatively in a way that has multiple metrics, because then the metrics we can measure are how much food waste is diverted and converted into energy,
30 seconds.
how many farms in local communities are being remediated because of the soil. We have metrics due on quality of life, qualitative metrics. So I invite you to look at Green Era Chicago and to truly consider how we can partner with our institutions within the region. The city is committed to a climate action plan. We should be too. I have more information. I'd love to speak with you about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments in the room? Are there any comments online?
David Corbin.
Hello, David, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Okay. David Corbin, Nebraska Sierra Club. My home address is 1002 North 49th Street. I received an email from OPPD. Congratulations on reaching 15,000 smart thermostats. That's very good goal. I hope it keeps going up higher. I was a bit flummoxed by OPPD's neutral stand on 399, and I listened to the discussion in the committee meetings, and it's still pretty muddy to me. So I hope sometime that will be explained. In previous years, when you talk about legislative bills, on the slide that goes with it, it would say where OPPD stands, support, oppose, neutral, and that practice has stopped. And I hope you return to the old method. On that email that I received about the smart thermostats, they had a link, and one of the links was about heat pumps and telling how they work and why they might be good, and it mentions nothing about the Inflation Reduction Act. It doesn't refer anybody to it to know that they can be getting tax rebates, and I think that needs to be corrected. And finally, today there was another 3-hour meeting about the Omaha Climate Action Plan, and many references were made to OPPD. I didn't see any representatives from OPPD today, but I was told by people from the city that you are working with city people. They mentioned things like increasing the incentive for residential solar and for energy efficiency. I hope that's true. I hope that those talks are going on, and that what was reported in today's meeting is actually happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other comments online? That's it? Okay. Last chance in the room. Still no? Okay. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.